This thing on. This is odd. I only have 20 minutes today, so it's going to be really fast. I don't really have anything to talk about. Nice, happy, wintry day outside. Snowy winter rose. Hey, Predator, what's up? Hi, how did you get in here so fast? That's kind of cool. Did it notify you or something? I'm just curious. Go find Taylor. Busy day at work today. Coming up. Taylor. She got the notification. Oh, cool. Does it text you or does it send it to your? I guess it must be a phone thing, right? Interesting. Coding stream? I don't know. I can never predict that. I do Zwift streams every day, so probably not today. Today's a pretty busy day. Uh, and stuff I have to do does not involve like other stuff that I have to write. I will do one though. Actually, there's a chance I'm gonna be doing a more regular stream, teaching people to code and stuff. And actually, after having gone through all this Python stuff, I'm thinking about teaching Python as a first language again. Because Python, as much as I hate it, as much as I bag on it, as much as I think there's better languages out there, it is still has a solid hold in the industry. People are going to be learning Python forever. And AI can write Python code pretty easily, and Python code is pretty easy for people to understand. Anyone. So like, I still think JavaScript is probably a better first language for its overall ability to teach you about things like first class functions and stuff like that. But I'm kind of rethinking this whole approach. There, on the one side, there's like, you should learn a strict language like Java because you want to learn strict types and stuff like that. A lot of, at education universities, raise your hand if you learn Java in school, right? I mean, that's still a relevant language. It's used for AI. I mean, for apps and stuff. And on the other hand, you have what is the simplest possible language that a person can grok to get the basic concepts of a language, like, looping, variable substitution, things like that, right? And I don't think there's any language better than Python for that. However, up to a point, right? because you get it to a point, and then you can't really progress with Python up to past a certain point. If, for example, you can't learn truly what a first class function is. You can get kind of an idea of it. I don't know if it's going to be a beginner boost. If I do it at all, it's just going to be to help somebody else learn to code. I don't know if it'll ever be a beginner boost. I go back and forth between having really structured content and having, hey, let's just write some stuff together, you know? So I keep coming back to that. That's kind of my style. Every time I try to write a book or create a formal curriculum, I always come back to the mentoring approach where you're just helping a person to learn what they need to learn, right? And then maybe letting other people watch you do that. So I'm thinking about doing that. The reason for that is because it's just so much more interactive. It's just easier to watch. But every time I do that, actually not every time, but every time I have done that, I get somebody who can't go through with it and they don't want to keep doing it, which is really the problem. So that's another reason I was thinking of doing Python. And I know if I do it on YouTube, or if I do a live stream like this on YouTube, or Twitch or whatever, it's definitely going to get a bunch of trolls. Why are you not doing this in Rust? Rust is the best language. And then I have to spend hours and hours and hours like talking about why this language is best for this person at this time. Yeah. And I mean, God, that was loud. That was really loud. Must have been like right next to me. Anyway, Year of the Horse. I remember talking about pedagogy of the oppressed with Paulo Freire. Yeah, I probably will republish those videos. Those videos are there. They've just been unpublished because I didn't know which ones were accurate and which ones weren't. So that is something I actually am kind of willing to do. The whole universe needs to be redone in Rust. Yeah, hard disagree. Nothing would get done. People who believe in Rust that dogmatically are worse than religious bigots. Hey, how you doing, Guy? Guy Cass, am I in the right category today? I am, right? I'm in Zwift. I'm only going to be here for another 15 minutes, but if you got questions. But I like the idea of like helping someone for the first time learn how to code in a language. I did finish the outline of activities that we would do. Then there's the whole idea of like, is it more valuable to learn web programming, or is it more valuable to learn Python? Right? So it really depends on the person. Back when I was doing mentoring, I could say to the person that wanted, that was paying me, I was like, what are your goals? And they'd be like, well, I just want to get a good tech job. That's a tough one, right? Because it's like, well, what kind of tech job? So I spent a lot of my time and energy in it for them, helping them figure out what they wanted to be when they grew up. Sometimes they would discover they didn't want to be anything. Thank you. And I got nothing against them when they would discover that. I would like, I told the story all the time about this really good looking guy who loved tech and Bitcoin. And he ultimately told me, I don't like to code, but I like tech. I'm like, be a sales agent. Be a project manager. You don't have to be a coder, right? People come into my chat all the time and they say, like the other day when I was coding 6 hours of Python, they come into in my chat and they comment and they say things like, uh, this is not a hard problem. Or this is what did one person say to me once? They said, "You're the most junior senior I've ever seen." And I was like, "You don't understand. I am fulfilling a need with the tool in the simplest way possible because that's what I'm paid a lot of money to do. That's what companies they want. They don't want you to do some fancy, artistic, esoteric data structure and algorithm. They want you to make them make money. And sometimes that means, why do you think AI is blowing away everybody? Because the companies, the people who pay you, don't care about all of that. Everyone wants to say, "Hey, Quentin, good to see you." Well, that's another thing we need to do. I need to go through your PRs that you submitted against Bonsai. I want to do that for sure. So, you know, my nobody who picks any critical decisions in my company right now, in tech or business, wants Rust or has even heard of Rust. So, what I'm trying to say is, and nobody says this enough. I repeat this every single time. So many times I repeat this. I repeat this constantly. You are paid to produce value. You are paid to produce value. There. You're not paid to entertain yourself. You're not paid to practice your favorite tech. Yeah. So, it's not because they're old. It's not because there are people that are young who get this. At the end of the day, you're being paid to produce value. And if you want to produce value and also do what you love, which you probably will end up hating because now you're getting paid for it, then you got to find the right job. Now, you got to figure that out. Like, what do you want to do every day? There's like a whole thing I would do everybody. We would do the whole skill stack thing where, like, what's in your skill stack? What do you want in your skill stack? John, you're going to make it in Minecraft. Nice. Now, there's a lot of people on Twitch in particular who code for entertainment or because they're sick of it, and they're driven by their own internal desire to make those cool things, and they want to code in their free time. So, we can't. There are a lot of people who code to relax, who code for their entertainment. I do not. I do not. I only code when I have to. I only code when I have to. If there's a tool that doesn't exist, coding is a means to an end for me. And I have to say this all the time, and people, cancel me or unfollow or go watch somebody else because they're like, "What are you talking about? You only code when you need to." I'm like, "Well, you're not internally motivated to code in your free time for open source for $0." I'm like, "No, I am not. There are many, many other things in life I would rather do, including reducing the suffering of others by increasing their happiness, than that." I'm a pragmatic person. That's all I have to say about that. I am more pragmatic. It makes me very unpopular in the software category in places like that, Yeah, I remember being obsessed. I remember when I was young and I was trying to break into the industry. Again, a means to an end, right? Learning back then to code HTML and CSS. I taught myself HTML, CSS, and JavaScript because it got me a job, Nike webmaster. And I remember staying up till 4 a.m. just like learning that stuff as best I could, you know? I remember getting up to get the baby and take the baby to mom, you know, and all that. And while I was coding, long hours trying to learn the skill so that I could have a job, so that I could pay for my baby and my wife and everything. And I was motivated by all of that. And that made, if you were to look at me up on the outside, I would be like, I was obsessed. I was like reading books on the train, going to work. I was doing everything to learn that because I knew if I learned the skill that my life would change. A lot of people these days are doing that with Kubernetes. It doesn't matter what you think of Kubernetes. All you need to know is that companies are paying well over 6 figures for Kubernetes engineers. And if you want that money and you want a relatively achievable technology goal, you should learn Kubernetes. But to learn Kubernetes is going to take most people, most average people who have no technical experience, it's going to take them upwards of a year to learn it, to like truly learn it, to be able to deploy an application in Kubernetes and have it work and not fall apart. So you know how to change resource quotas, all that. And there's lots of people who will teach you this for free, including Het Tanis, FAG will help you, and Misha. I could teach you Kubernetes, but you know, again, there's so much necessary stepping stones before you get to Kubernetes that you kind of need to go up to that, right? So, and I don't think you should teach what you don't do, personally. I think that's kind of a problem with our education system. A lot of people who teach tech things who have never actually done it and been paid for it. So they can't give you the insight. They can't give you the context. They can't give you the failures, their mistakes, their successes. They can't, because they don't even know, because they haven't had it. Now there's some subjects, I suppose history, that you can teach, English, things like that. I don't think you should be teaching English unless you're the English speaker. Although that you could make an argument that people who speak English actually don't know it. They learned it like everybody else by just repeating what their parents are saying and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? So will there be tech streams? Probably, but the tech streams that I do are either going to be me doing what I need quietly, or they're going to be me helping somebody else that, you know, I know or care about in some way. You know, kind of like I helped Sly get her Minecraft server up. I really like Sly, but Sly is one of the tech Twitch streamers, by the way, and she's super awesome. But when I was helping her, I found myself constantly checking myself from wanting to keep telling her, "Why are you doing any of this?" And the bottom line, I don't think people know. I don't know how many people know. People don't know what they want to learn. They're like, well, I don't know. I heard learning to hack is a good thing to learn. Yeah, but do you know that most of that job is going to be destroyed by AI completely? Most of it. Zero-day discovery, you know? It's the cybersecurity profession is going to be one of the biggest hit by AI, because AI can try everything in a billionth of a second that you can't, especially bug bounty discovery. So, yeah. So that leaves you with a bunch of questions. It's like, well, what do I want to do? What is my job going to be? Well, the problem is that depending on how nobody knows what the job market is going to look like in a year, let alone 5 years after college. We don't know. So honestly, I think the thing that has kept me employed and wealthy and able to support my family more than anything else is my ability to communicate both verbally, to talk, to communicate my point, to make sure that I'm articulating it, and my ability to write about it, and my ability to read nonverbal cues and to work with others. Those are the single most important skills you can have. Becoming a well-rounded human being. This is why I don't know if it's still true, but it was true in the 90s. But I mean, the most important thing you can do, the best degree to get that will still matter later is a degree in the humanities. And a lot of people are like, what? I'm going to get a computer science degree. No. You want a degree where you're going to be thinking about life. You're going to be digesting lots of words. You're going to be articulating thoughts and writing. You want to get an A in business writing, business and technical writing, more than you want to get an A in C coding. Because that is what's going to really send you on your way. The people who have personality, let me give you another perfect example of this. I would abandon my current job in a heartbeat if it weren't for the team that I have. And what do I love about my team? I love that they are supportive, that we push each other, that we disagree strongly and know how to do it respectfully. That those are the things you need to work on. And you can do work on those things in church. You don't have to pay for a college education. The interpersonal social skills are the highest paying of all the skills you will learn. Highest by far. So like the thing that takes an architect up here who can do the same thing as a coder over here, first of all, it's the thing that gets you the job. If you can't articulate and make a good impression, forget getting a job. It's not happening. Because most jobs happen by you meeting other people. And if you're going to lock yourself away and never see people because you're too afraid of them, you need to work on that skill before you learn anything else. The ones who make crazy money, the Primogens of the world, for example, who made, what was it, $500,000 a year for Netflix? Primogen, of his own admission, says he wasn't a very good engineer when they hired him. Go listen to his stuff. But if you know Prime, you know how dynamic and energetic and personable he is and how much people want to be around him. So he didn't have to talk anybody into hire him. Somebody, as I understand it, somebody helped him learn about the job, and then he's like, oh, I don't know if I could ever do that, but he interviewed, and it's probably his personality that helped to win him over. And then he learned he had base tech skills, and he's a smart guy, but then he did all that stuff, and then that took him forward. And now I don't even know what he's doing. I haven't watched Prime in like a year. So I've got to go. I have to go. That's all I can do today. So let me just leave you with that thought. If you're trying to figure out what to do in life and you're trying to figure out what tech skills to learn and how to code and who to watch on YouTube, focus on the people and the places and the activities and the organizations that are going to help you learn how to be a good communicator, to be respectful, read the 4 agreements, practice the 4 agreements, be impeccable with your word, don't take things personally, don't make assumptions, and do your best. Do that before anything else. Everybody can work on that stuff. And if you work on that stuff, the rest will come. And then it's a matter of self-discovery and learning about what it is you actually want to learn about. That's all for me. I gotta go. My work is done, in a sense, I hope. Sorry for this short one, but I got a stand-up meeting in 8 minutes, so I gotta go. Bye.